Good evening, everyone. This is your brother Robert Young Jr. Coming to send greetings, words of encouragement, hoping that you're in good standing right now. Knowing the current climate, everyone's doing their own thing, seeing the transition in our society right now with the present circumstances of the COVID-19 or the coronavirus situation, which is causing us to change in our behaviors and in our practices on a daily basis. But with those things, there are necessary precautions for us all to stay safe and to get to the bottom of this pandemic. And so I just pray your diligence in the Lord and your strength to know that God is still working and He's still who He said He is. And God is still looking after His own. And so at this time, I want you to be encouraged to utilize and open your eyes the opportunities that present itself with the transition and the change in life. All change isn't bad. And as things happen that even though we may not understand, God is still in the middle of those things. And I don't want you all to worry or don't fret, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and a sound mind. And so at this time, I want to encourage you, as we can't be together tonight in Bible class, but we can always be together in the spirit of the Lord. We can access His word. We can always access His power. And so I want to make sure that I ignite in you the mentality and the understanding that though we can't be hand in hand, we can still be of one body. And God is so big that He can be present in all places. And so due to our limitations by the governing body ordinating current rules and regulations, we're going to be obedient and do what's best for everyone, because even if it's not us of the population that is at most risk, we don't want to cause any added damage or risk to anyone else by being a carrier or on-siting any type of way to harm someone. So we're going to be obedient. We're going to stay aware and alert, but not fearful. And so I want to encourage anyone out there to stay mindful of the circumstances, be aware of what's happening, as well as aware of the God that we serve. So tonight, I just want to leave a brief word with you from 2 Kings chapter 5. It's a story in the Bible in the Old Testament dealing with a commander of an army of the king Aram. And this commander's name is Naaman. And Naaman is a great soldier. He's a great commander in his army. He does great things for his kingdom and for his people. But there's one issue. At all his greatness of battle and fighting, Naaman has leprosy. And leprosy is a skin disease, a type of illness, and it's something that you can't get away from or hide. It affects your livelihood. It affects how you live. And in spite of Naaman's success on the battlefield, he's living a sick life. Up under his armor, his successful stature and statistics, his life is still tattered underneath the skin. And so I want to encourage you to understand that no matter how far you go in life and no matter how successful you are, you can be sick and successful. So Naaman's in this circumstance and he's dealing with this, and he's looking for any type of help and remedy. It just so happens that Naaman's wife has a maid who is an Israelite who worships God. And she knows about Elisha, the prophet of God that is from Samaria. And so she tells Naaman's wife, and word gets back to Naaman that if he wants to be healed, go see this prophet of God in Samaria. And so she gets the word out. And so Naaman goes back. He sends word to his king of Aram, and then the king of Aram gets the chain mail to the king of Israel, and then the king of Israel doesn't know really what to do. But Elisha hears of the word, and he goes and he communicates that he'll help him. And so Naaman gets in contact with Elisha, and then Elisha has a meeting with Naaman, and he tells him that if you want to be healed, you got to dip yourself 7 times in the Jordan. So Naaman hears this, and he's kind of disturbed. He's like, why do I got to go to these types of measures to be healed? But that's the instruction that Elisha gave him for him to get rid of this leprosy. And Naaman goes away mad and upset. He blatantly states in the text of 2 Kings chapter 5, he asks Elisha, why can't you just wave your hand over me so I can be healed? But that's not the protocol in which Elisha tries to help him. And so Naaman runs off mad. But at the advising of those around him, he goes and he dips into Jordan 7 times. And at this, he's healed. Says that his skin became like a young boy's. He got a real good skin. That Jergens moisturized skin. He got blessed by doing this. So after him being healed, he becomes infatuated and in reverence and honor of the God of Elisha. So much that he asks Elisha, he probably tries to bless Elisha, but Elisha turns down the gifts. But at the same time, we see Naaman acknowledging the God of Israel, acknowledging him above his own God. He even goes as far as asking Elisha to understand his situation, that when he goes in the temple to worship the God of his king, and he has to be there, a part of his duty. Can God have favor on him and forgive him for bowing to another God, because he's realized who the true God is? And so in this, we see a lot of things going, and I want you to understand this one reoccurring message. God can flip the script at any time, in any moment. Any circumstance or situation, God can flip the script. You may not know what's going on. You may not know why it's happening or what the end result might be, but God is flipping the script because he's written the script of this life and the world and things that are happening. And so when things come against us, like this coronavirus and things that are happening, you got to understand who's in control. It doesn't matter how well you've done in this life or what you're doing. One thing can take us all out, or one thing can change the normal conditions of our lives. And that's what happened with Naaman. Naaman was a successful commander, but he was sick. He was sick and successful. But that tells you one thing, that you can be sick and successful. You can have it going on, but underneath all your armor and all your success, you've got an internal problem. You got something that plagues you at the end of the day that your success can't get rid of. Secondly, in this story, we see also the interceding of the people of God. When Naaman, a man that is not a child of God, he's not a believer, he's not a follower. When we meet him, he comes into contact with the one true living God, because a person of God, this young maid who's an Israelite, puts forth a messenger of God. And when Naaman runs into the messenger of God, Elisha, he then comes into contact with the living God, and he becomes a faithful witness of what God can do and who he is. And so when that is, we can't downplay the influence that we have as the people of God, because people are going through things in this life and experiencing things right now that they feel are uncurable, that they can't get over. They can't get over their past. They can't get over their history. They can't get over the idea of what's going on in this pandemic in our country or in our world right now. But the people of God have to let other people know that there is somebody that is in control above this virus, above the current situation of our world. And so if the people of God don't say anything, who will? Recall Jesus telling the people that if you shut up those that are meant to worship him, the rocks will cry out. It's necessary that people of God speak of God into a godless world. And so that's the second thing we see. Lastly, we see that Naaman is pretty critical of the process of his healing. Now, this man doesn't know how to heal leprosy. He does not have the cure. If he did, he would have used it by now. But because he was so in trouble, he sought out other help. And when he sought out help, the man of God gave him the remedy. And then Naaman tried to battle and to debacle about how he was going to be healed. And I want to encourage you to understand this, that you cannot make up your own remedy for healing. If God is the God of healing, then we've got to do what he says by his means and his standards. And so if you want to be healed, if you want God's grace, if you want God's blessing and his gifting, you've got to do it by God's means. Healing is not going to come by your own means. If you had the ability to heal yourself, to change yourself, you would have already done it. But since you don't, you need to be engaged with a God that has the ability to heal you. And Naaman, as lowly as he thought the formula for him being healed by dipping in the Jordan was, and according to his reputation or his style of living, he had to get down in a dirty situation and expose himself and make himself vulnerable so he could be healed. In this time, a season in life when things are challenging us, in making us be vulnerable, to be humbled, in the onset of quarantining and being isolated in a place where you can't do what you normally do. That's the perfect place God needs to have you and I, so that he can speak to us vividly, that we can clearly see his message. We can clearly understand what we're here for and what we should be doing. And so those three things I want you to get out of this lesson. And I want you to read that chapter, 2 Kings chapter 5, to understand those clear principles and lessons that God gave a man that didn't believe in him, but also he exposed some things in those that followed him. The availability of God in a circumstance where people are living godless lives. And if the people of God speak up, they can make prevalent the truth that God is real and God has power that other people can't possess. And so in trusting him and obeying him, we come into contact with someone that can heal all our soul's diseases, that can give us answers to all our questions and all our challenges. And so I trust and I believe that God can flip the script anytime. And so I don't fear or what's happening in this current situation as if it's my final demise, because I know that my life is in God's hands. I know that I can make it. I know that I can stand. I love the lyrics to Kirk Franklin's song, because it reiterates the idea that no matter what happens, my life is in your hands. And if you know you're in sure hands, if you know you're solidified in God, you're confident knowing that no matter what happens in this life, God's got you. And at the end of the day, when we step from time into eternity, he's got us on the other side. And so I want you to be encouraged and know that as I conclude this, I think about this process, and I know it's used many times, but I'm so fascinated how God reiterates his abilities and his blessing through nature itself. And this story with Naaman, how he goes through these things and he goes from being a dirty leper, someone sickly and in a normal society would be an outcast, but he's cleansed so much that it said his skin is like a young boy, that it's nothing like it's ever been. And so in that, I think about the butterfly or the caterpillar. The caterpillar goes into a process as it transforms into a butterfly. It goes through a very tough, depressing, restricting, confining circumstance inside of the cocoon. And this cocoon is a type of edifice that the caterpillar gets inside of and is stuck there for a 2-week process. Now, in the midst of this, the fascinating point in this process is called metamorphosis. Is what happens is that this caterpillar literally obliterates itself and is reformulated into a butterfly. And the beauty of this is that what happens inside of this cocoon is that these liquids or digestive juices that come out of this caterpillar really are released and really dissolve all the tissue or the body of the caterpillar. And what happens is that it's literally turns into goo. So a certain process of this metamorphosis, you cut open a cocoon and you catch it, it is literally just ooze coming out. This solid butterfly turns into ooze. Every solid thing in this life that it was or it thought it was and the structure that it was becomes formless. It becomes slippery. It becomes ungrabbable and grippable. Becomes gooey. His life becomes detached. But the only things that stay intact are things called imaginable disc. And these things are key points that will help rebuild the structure of the caterpillar into a butterfly when it becomes whole again. And so as it becomes ooze, as it becomes this liquid from a solid, these imaginable discs are the key points or the organs of things that will help be staples of the butterfly's life. And these imaginable discs are things as the antenna, the legs, the eyes, and the genitals, and all the things that are going to help this caterpillar become a fully grown and healthy butterfly. Now, I want to encourage you that in this message, this is so key, that when God has us in a tight space, it might dissolve everything of your fleshly life. It may take away your resources. It may take your normality of life. It may dissolve all the things that you trusted and leaned on, your money, your finance, your comfort, maybe even your food. It might limit that. But in that, you got to know that in the process of becoming one thing into another, God's got to dissolve some things in your life so that he can reaffirm you and allow you to become what he's called for you to be. As he flips the script, God's not flipping the script to take away from your story or take you out of the story. He's trying to get you to the end of the story. And so in the process of metamorphosis, as this butterfly becomes solid again in these imaginable discs as the staples of the new form of the caterpillar into the butterfly, these things are an essential in the adult life of this butterfly. He has the antenna, so he has a good sense of how to feel and to know what to do as a butterfly. He has eyes, so he can see life as a butterfly. He has legs, so he knows how to walk as a butterfly. And he grows wings so he can move as a butterfly, and genitals and the reproductive organs as well, so that he can reproduce as a butterfly. So my message for you is, if you break down in the cocoon process of this testing of what God's going through, we won't make it. You won't be able to see the things. You won't be able to feel the things. You won't be able to travel to the things. You won't be able to reproduce in those areas where God's trying to make you most productive in the days to come. And beautiful as it is, these wings go through the process as well that the caterpillar carries the whole time, but they don't come to manifestation until after the metamorphosis is complete. So the caterpillar's ability to fly is always in it, but it's not until it goes through a closed, tight, stressful, uncomfortable situation and is rebuilt again can it use those wings that has been given in the first place. And so, beloved, as God flips the script of our lives and our society and our community right now, I got to let you know and encourage you that you stay in that cocoon. You make the best of that cocoon. And as God restructures and reforms you and he revitalizes you, enjoy the process. When you're at home, don't catch cabin fever. Do the things that make you happy. Enjoy, learn yourselves. Build relationships with your family. Go outside and play. Get on that basketball goal. Show your kids how you used to do them back in the day. But use this time to grow and to develop and to become stronger, so that you don't become depressed, that you don't become like the world, but you glorify in what God is doing. I ask that you be encouraged, encourage others, and be a light of hope in this time. We'll be in contact soon to my Fountain Square family. I'll let you know of the plan, the things to come, myself and leadership. So keep your eye on your email, your voice messages, and all those things. But we're going to navigate this storm. We're going to make it through the transformation process, because God is metamorphing the things of our lives through this virus and this pandemic that is going on. God is still doing great things. And so be in touch. Encourage somebody, obey the rules of the laws of the land, do what you're supposed to do. But know that God is still working. And so be encouraged. God bless you. And Lord willing, I'll see you soon.